Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. Greaten asked me to do a tutorial series on their top model EWI, the AP500 Pro. In other words, this is a contract series. In other words, I'm getting paid for this. In this series, I'll answer typical questions asked by EWI beginners, and in this first video, we'll do everything to get you started so you can play your first song. How to hold the instrument correctly, how to turn it on, how to play basic notes, and how to apply the correct breath pressure, and other beginners' questions. This video will focus on the AP500 Pro, but many of the things I say will apply to other EWIs as well. In the next part of this series, we'll talk about increasingly more complex topics like how to connect this to a computer, how to set up the sound, how to record audio and MIDI, and other things. And if you think that's what you're looking for, please join me in the next minutes. Here we go. What is an EWI? EWI is an acronym for Electronic Wind Instrument. In simple terms, it is a synthesizer with a keyboard shaped like a clarinet and an air pressure sensor. The keyboard detects which notes you are playing, and it can behave like a recorder, a saxophone, a clarinet, or various world instruments. When you blow into the mouthpiece, the synthesizer senses the change in air pressure and adjusts the volume of the note. The Greaten AP500 uses pre-recorded sounds called samples. These sounds are processed by the synthesizer so they react naturally to your playing. For example, the AP500 can change the pitch, the volume and the timbre of a sound while you play, and it can also add room reverb. Why should I use an EWI if I already play an acoustic instrument? EWIs have become very good at imitating real instruments, although experienced listeners will always be able to tell the difference. Still, playing an EWI offers several real advantages. You can adjust how much breath pressure is needed. Many viewers told me this allowed them to keep making music even when their acoustic instruments became physically demanding. You only need to touch the keys lightly and they will register correctly. Again, many viewers appreciated being able to play comfortably even when their hands were hurting. You can choose from many different sounds. You can shape and customize those sounds. Recording an EWI is much easier than recording an acoustic instrument. The EWI can record your performance as MIDI data. You can use the EWI to control software and hardware synthesizers. And you can explore a huge universe of electronic sounds. So, how do we start? Let's get into it. As a synthesizer, the EWI needs electric power. The AP500 Pro has a built-in battery that must be charged. Once charged, you can play for about 4 hours. You should keep the battery charged at all times because letting it drain completely can damage it. You can charge the battery by plugging in a USB Type-C cable. You can use an external power supply or simply connect the instrument to your computer while it is turned on. Finding your way around. Let's look at the instrument from the front first. At the top there's a flexible silicone mouthpiece. You can blow into it and you can also bite it to change the timbre of the sound. Below that is the keyboard. These are capacitive keys, so you only need to touch them very lightly. If you are old enough to remember, televisions in the 1980s had remote controls with similar touch buttons. On the AP500 Pro, the round keys light up when you touch them. Now, let's look at the back of the instrument. At the top, you'll find the screen. It shows important information such as the sound you're using, your playing volume, and more. Below the screen are 6 buttons and a rotary encoder for choosing sounds and adjusting settings. We will look at these later. Next are the octave rollers. Touch them to change the octave you're playing in. There is also a glide bar here. Move your thumbs across it to play glissando, which means sliding smoothly from one note to another. Below that is the hook for the neck strap and the thumb rest. These help you to hold the instrument securely. There is also a sensor here that can be used to bend the pitch of the notes you play. Further down, you will find the power button, a speaker, and the 1/4-inch stereo output. At the very bottom, there is a small hole that lets condensation water escape. This water builds up naturally because the air from your lungs contains moisture. Switching on. Turn on the instrument by holding the power button for more than 1 second. The EWI will start with its default sound, a soprano saxophone, at a default volume. We will take a look at how to change this in the next episode. How to hold the instrument. The EWI comes with a neck strap that supports its weight. Put it around your neck and attach it to the hook on the instrument. Adjust the length so the mouthpiece sits comfortably in front of your mouth. This position is too high and this position is too low. For now, we will use the default fingering style. Later, we will look at how to set it up for saxophone or clarinet players. Place the thumb of your right hand under the thumb rest. Do not touch the sensor underneath yet. Place your index, middle and ring finger on the 3 round keys on the lower part of the keyboard and your pinky on the pinky plate, the long metal bar at the bottom. Place the index, middle and ring finger of your left hand on the 3 round keys on the upper part of the keyboard. Your left pinky does not touch anything yet. You can adjust the position of the pinky plate until it's comfortable to reach for you. The thumb of your left hand should sit between the 2 knurled rollers. Now lift the instrument to your mouth and blow into it. Congratulations, you have played your first note. Try blowing harder and softer and listen to how the loudness and the timbre change. Experiment with long and short notes and with different ways of pushing air through the mouthpiece. You will notice subtle differences. For example, pushing the air in short bursts with your tongue and mouth sounds like this, while doing the same thing with your lungs sounds like this. You don't need much air to play loudly. The pressure sensor reacts to very small changes in air pressure, unlike a real saxophone which requires much more strength. You can adjust the pressure sensitivity to make it even more responsive if you like. Now, let's try playing some notes. First, lift your right hand pinky, then your ring, middle and index finger one after the other. Then lift the ring, middle and index finger of your left hand. Finally, leave only the middle finger of your left hand on the middle round key. You have just played an octave. In the AP500 manual, you will find explanations for all notes depending on the fingering style you chose. In this video, we are using the standard fingering. We'll look at how to change this in the next video. Now, try some simple melodies. Begin with all fingers down to play a C. In Germany, children often start with a song called All My Little Ducklings, which moves up and down the octave starting on C. It's a perfect beginner's piece because of this. In the United States and the United Kingdom, beginners often start with Mary Had a Little Lamb, which uses even fewer notes but begins in the middle of the octave. Take your time to get used to the EWI's keys. Unlike a real clarinet, flute or saxophone, you only need to touch them lightly because you are not physically covering holes. In the next video, I will show you how to change octaves, how to play glissando, how to play vibrato, and how to set up the instrument and store user settings. Yeah, and that's it for today. An introduction to Greaten's AP500 Pro. And if you want to follow along this series, why not subscribe to my YouTube channel? For today, thanks for watching and see you again next week. Bye bye!